Ooh, how about a round of applause?
Mm.
Yeah, standing ovation. Ooh, yeah, yeah. You look so dumb right now. Standing outside my house. Trying to apologize. You're so ugly when you cry. Please, just cut it out. And yo, Peter, don't tell
Don't
me
tell
you're
me you're sorry cause
sorry
you're
cause you're
not.
not. Oh, baby, when I
Yeah.
know you're only sorry you got caught. Yo, this song,
But
but
you put
you
on
put
quite
on
a
quite a
show. Ooh,
show. Really had me going.
but
Now
now
it's
it's
time
time to
to
close.
go. Curtains finally closing. That was
That was
quite
quite
a
a show. Ooh,
very entertaining. But
but
it's
it's
so
over now.
go on and take yo Queen. She's a
Pew,
queen,
pew, pew,
bro.
pew.
She's a queen. I got back into a Beyonce Rihanna recently.
Mm-hmm.
Powerful music, bro. Powerful
So good.
music.
Soul music right there. I think Rihanna's got like a kid and she's a full on mom now and everything.
She's an absolute savage, man.
Yeah.
Like straight up, like what is it? Fenty net worth of her company,
Bro,
1.4
she's a
billion.
businesswoman, man. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Fenty Beauty's worth 700 million.
Sheesh. And is that primarily perfume or is that like perfume and like also or makeup and like bags as well too?
I think it's makeup and perfume beauty products, but she's also released a lingerie company.
Mm,
I was like, geez, like absolute savage.
love that.
Um, but yeah, whenever I listen to her songs, it takes me back to like junior high school, like singing like love songs and shit, being heartbroken. It was a wild time. What's up with you,
You
Peter?
ever
How's everything? Huh?
you ever like all right, so when I was younger, I would do, I would be sitting in the back of my like my parents' minivan in the back seat. And then whenever like it's raining outside, I would lean my head against the car window and then while listening to my songs on my Walkman and just pretend I'm in like a sad music video. You ever do that?
Yeah, the tears that go wondering why. Da 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 da.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like Eminem, all that Rihanna. But yeah, that was something that I used to like to do.
You remember when we did you ever have an iPod shuffle? You only had like 27 songs or some shit,
Oh
and
yeah.
like it was just a clip.
Before the iPod Shuffle, I had like a Walkman, and I would have to like you power through those 10 to 12 songs on the CD. Some of you guys listening that are like pretty young. I mean, shit, I used to be like the young one, but it's like, yeah, you go through that, and then you have to like swap out. I had like a portable, like I guess CD holder where you can stack like 5 to 10 different CDs. Then I would carry that with me because like, all right, go through one album and swap it out for a different one.
Yo,
Dude, you know what's
there's
kind of crazy because if you think about it, it's like it really wasn't even that long ago.
dude.
How like 20 years and then like look how far like technology has come.
If you're under the age of 28 listening to this, you probably don't know what a Microsoft Zune is or a
Hmm.
Sony Ericsson phone, maybe
Yeah.
even a Nextel, right?
Oh,
Or like a
what's a
Sidekick.
BlackBerry
Yeah,
or Razor
BlackBerry.
a Razor flip phone?
Dude, the Microsoft Zune, the little MP3 players that are
Oh yeah.
like almost like a rectangular prism. That was the life, man. Just
Yeah.
simple times. And
Simple times,
now,
dude.
like now things aren't quite as simple, like talking about meta ads and the mistakes that people still make. Instead of
But
just
it's
like
it's
jamming and listening to music, we have to focus on growing the business, Peter. So, what were you gonna say?
it I think it's fun though. I think I saw like a video the other day on Instagram where it was like a video of a guy. He's super young. He's probably like 23, 24. Really big Instagram influencer, and like it's just a bunch of B-roll of him, kind of just like, all right, when you finally made it, and it's just like a video of him like sitting by the pool, like taking it super easy, like reading some books, listening to music. I'm like, I was watching it, I was like, bro, this shit almost kind of gets me depressed because like I feel like I would almost have like no purpose. if I literally just like woke up and had the entire day to literally just like lounge around and shit. I'm like, I don't necessarily want this. Me and Andy were just chatting a little bit before this podcast how like we couldn't lately we haven't really been able to sleep well, primarily just because we have a bunch of different things like coming up in the works, and it's just like every single day lately I've been like waking up naturally at 4, primarily because of how like excited I am of like all these different things that are coming up in the works, you know. I don't know, that shit kind of gets me going, versus kind of just like, living in more simple. I think eventually at some point, right, we'll probably get to a point in our lives where that is something that that I want, but definitely not right now for the current phase of life that I'm in.
Yeah, two, I think it's really good to read business biographies because one, you learn what made people successful, and if people were really successful and they ended up crashing, what caused that? And Ted Turner was like, at the end of his career when he's built all these media companies, he was like, I was just simply tired. Like all I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
do was just go after building this for 30 straight years. All I wanted to do was like go hunt, go relax on my, really enjoy my vacation home, was travel and chill. So I do think there is a moment in time where like, yeah, you're doing it for 20 plus years at a high level. You're like, I'm ready
Mm-hmm.
to just relax, like, and have that
Yeah.
be your 9 to 5.
Plus, I think too, like whenever you're like grinding and you're kind of just like working really hard, a lot of times like when you do kind of finally take like a little bit of like a quick rest and break, like it makes it that much more worth it. You know, so I don't know, like I think usually over the last couple of years we'll kind of go in like 60 to 90 day sprints. So we'll kind of just like work really really hard, and then from there you take like a couple of days off, go on vacation or something like that, and then just like you can actually kind of let your mind kind of chill out. Kind of similar to like running, right, and training. If all your runs are just like super easy, like your off days aren't going to feel like it's worth it. But if you're actually like pushing tempo, you're pushing your heart rate into like zone 4, zone 5, then it's just like, man, I fucking earned that rest day. It feels good, sending these normal tech boots with the feet up.
No, for sure, man. I've tossed around the idea of like 60-day, 90-day. And I think I'm going to start introducing 3 week sprints, 1 week rest, 3 week
Yeah.
sprints, 1 week rest, because I feel like it makes the most like sense. You almost can, like, people will be like, yeah, like, I'm going to do a 90-day sprint, but then they'll save all of the work for the last month. Right? Or like they start off
Yeah.
really hot. You know what I mean? Like, so it's almost like let's just go month to month. But the whole thought process with like how can you make something more sustainable is I think it's making it more fun. And it's really difficult to have fun playing a game when you don't know the rules.
Hmm.
So when Peter was like, hey, ads is fun. It's definitely fun when you kind of understand how you're playing, right? Like imagine if you're playing a new board game with a bunch of friends and like they're explaining the rules to you and like you kind of don't know what's going on. You keep getting beat and it's a little frustrating. But
Hmm.
after you play it, they host another game that you understand the game again. What meta ads is for most people is imagine going to the same game night 10 times, not changing what you're doing, and you keep
Yeah.
losing and you keep relearning the rules. So hopefully for these episodes, we kind of start to tell you how to play the game appropriately so that you can start to win. It doesn't mean that you're always going to win, right? Because you're always going to be changing up your strategy. But for the most
Hmm.
part, like these are some North Stars.
Yeah, and you can like, how can you make something that's tedious and boring to you right now? How can you kind of tie in a little bit of like entertainment or something that's like fun for you? So for me personally, like a good example is like I hate like batching content, but I know it's like it's super important. So whenever I like go into the clinic like once a month to like batch a bunch of shit, usually afterwards I'll go and get soup dumplings at a spot that's literally like 5 minutes away because like that is like my reward. And so I know for a lot of people, like just literally, whether it's like scripting or whether it comes down to like actually filming the ads, for a lot of people, it's a big block. And so figure out like, hey, like what's something that you actually enjoy, right? Like, and then tie that and associate that with the activity that you need to do. Because the more like positive like feedback that you can get that you can associate with that one task that you don't like, then eventually you'll be like, oh, cool. Like today's my day or of the month that I get to go rip some soup dumplings because I get to get that as a reward after I like film like 2 hours of content.
Dude, it's the same. I either do that or I just like, go like, you know what? Like, I just know if I get this damn thing done, I'm gonna feel a lot better. So like, I
Yeah.
was supposed to rip ads this past weekend for our practice, and I'm like, fuck me, like I caught a fever. And then I had other things come up. And then yesterday I got home at like 5 and I just told Christy, I was like, I literally had this on my card now to do for like 5 days and something's gotten in the way. I'm just gonna go travel around the city right now and film all these ads. And I just filmed all these ads and like I woke up feeling way better. Same thing this morning, woke up at 5:45 and I'm like, all right, we've been trying to rip webinar funnels for so fucking long.
Yeah.
And we already put one in a date, had to postpone in 2 weeks. We're about to rip one, not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. It's like, let's fucking dive into the trainings. Let's put in the landing pages. And I'm like, all right, before the end of today, the webinar funnel should be mostly done. And like at least have the process going. But it's like this, it's all of this like random stuff will come up. And finally you just go, okay,
gotta get it done.
Just gotta get it done right now. And I know that right now, once I get it done, even if it's the most inconvenient time, I will feel better afterwards. You just need, set a timer for like 10 minutes to start working on something. Just 10 minutes. And all of a sudden you're building momentum because you got it going.
Yeah. And I always get like a massive sense of internal accomplishment whenever like I finally finish off doing this one thing that I've been putting off for forever, you know? And so do you guys selves a favor. If you know you need to rip some ads because you're not getting enough lead flow and then you're playing, just block out time and literally just do it. Otherwise, you're just going to continue to like find something else that's going to come up. It's going to take more priority that you enjoy doing more, whether it's like, you know, I don't know, miscellaneous, like administrative shit or tracking KPIs. I don't know. I feel like people always find, like as a business owner, you always have so many different things that you can do at any given point in time. But it always just comes down to what can you prioritize your time with the one thing that you know you need to do that's going to move the needle forward the most. But because you hate it so much, you just keep prolonging and delaying it. So if you know you need to rip ads, just go out there, rip some ads and throw it up. But dude, let's talk more about common mistakes that people make with ads, man. I know last week we were ripping on a ton. We had so much value to drop for you guys. We had to split into 2, maybe even 3 parts. But Andy, what do you got, man?
Yeah. One of the things that we do that indirectly helps us get the most out of our ad spend is we have a DM setter that's always in our practices Instagram. And what you're going to realize is as you start to scale your ad spend, you're going to be building like 10 to 20 followers a day just from people that are watching your ads. So we've been able to now essentially book 1 to 2 discovery calls from the DMs from the ads. So if we're saying like, hey, we're spending 20K on ads currently for the month, we're booking an extra 30 to 60 calls on top of that through the DMs so that we can get more out of the ad spend. But that's something where I see like, I don't think a lot of people do because they're thinking like, holy cow, I don't want to be DMing everyone. Neither do I, which is why I don't do it. We outsource the role. We utilize VAs to do all the DMs. And honestly, once you've had a couple of successful DM conversations, those are your references. And I meet the DM setter every single week to go over any sort of like conversations that could have been better, could have gone worse, or like what's happening with the DMs. And the last thing, it's like, you don't always have to have everything right before somebody starts a role like this, right? Because we have Slack. So it's like if she has a question about a specific patient, throws it, or prospective patient, throws it up into Slack, I answer it, create SOP, and then we just create this kind of library moving forward. But I think the DMing, a lot of people will sometimes follow you from an ad. They won't fill out the instant form. And it's just an opportunity to go deeper, right? It's like you're nudging someone. It's like, wow, they actually care about their business because they're reaching out to their potential clients.
Yeah, I love that. There's a lot of really good benefits when it comes to ads that's not directly attributed to direct revenue tracked directly from ads. One of the things is exactly what Andy just said, right? Like you'll have people that follow you, but they're not filling out the form. So when you're tracking your overall ROI, it's not like we can track it directly to that one specific ad that they filled out and they came in. But a lot of times people want to do research, right? They see the ad and they're like, cool, this is interesting. Let me click on this one profile and scout it out. Maybe some of you guys are doing that right now, right? Like maybe some of you guys heard or saw one of our ads, clicked on our Instagram profile, and then now you're listening to one of this podcasts. It's a whole ecosystem that kind of like filters in, but your ads is really going to be the one thing that kind of filters in that top of funnel to get attention. Ads basically just buys attention, right? I think something that's really cool is on one of our monthly group calls yesterday with one of our clients. Shout out Ian. Ian just hit a massive PR month. I think he hit like 86K, 87K last month. But on the call, he was saying that like he was at a local event, just doing like I think like injury screens or workshop, and he had people that would come up to him and be like, "Yo, I've been seeing your ads everywhere. I'm glad to see that you're actually a real person." And so like ads basically will amplify your local presence because people just see your shit so much. And he's like, yeah, I think he was like, yeah, we had a bunch of people that just literally ended up booking, and the conversion was that much smoother because they had already been inundated and they're already well educated to like, hey, what are some of the things that they're able to help out with, whether it's like running pain, shoulder pain, weightlifters, whatever it is. And they're more so willing to come up and talk to him. Same thing with like the conference that I was at last was it 3 weeks ago over in acquisition.com. There were like 2 or 3 people that I like went up to and like initiated conversations with just because I had seen their ads online. They're like, yo, like you're the guy from XYZ, like I haven't seen your ads on, like how's that going, and it's just like it basically buys attention. People become a little bit more aware of who you are. And I think like at the local level, like it puts you in a position of authority. And that's really why we kind of frame it as like, hey, the ads funnel that we run, we frame it as the local authority funnel because it really positions you as like the local expert in your area for solving pain.
Yeah. You had just remind me of something. One, dude, I find Ian so funny, man. Ian's the fucking man. He's just one of the dudes in a group. Always looking out for other people, right?
Yeah.
While taking care of his own business. So just got to give a quick shout out to give Ian his flowers. Just insane growth from a business perspective and personal. When one of the first conversions we had, I was actually walking around a clinic and she goes, "Hey, I saw you on the ad," right? She came in, it was her evaluation. I'm like, "Hey, nice to meet you." She goes, "I just thought you were a fake person." Yeah. And the one thing to say, we kind of talked about it in the last podcast, was don't use AI. But the other thing is don't be so attached to your ad looking so like polished and clean.
Yeah.
I think another big mistake I see, it's that so many people think that higher production ads are going to do better. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Just had someone that I audited from our group. His ad that was doing better was a static that was created versus his 2 ads that he created with a professional videographer that looked really, really good, like lighting setups and all that stuff. The static ad was crushing for him. So I was like, all right, perfect. Scrap those. Let's make more varieties of the static. And then let's start to scale a different kind of position or a different kind of angle. But I see this constantly where it's like just whipping out the phone and talking to a phone crushes way more than like a $3,000 DSLR camera.
Yeah. It's never been an easier time to succeed at ads, primarily because people are so kind of like overwhelmed and kind of over like these high production like videos, right? And so people almost want the trick is almost like, how can we make our ads feel like an organic piece of content? And a lot of that is really just done through like UGC style through your simple iPhone. I think I know a lot of times in the past, like in previous years, big barrier block for me in terms of like putting out content was like, hey, it had to look like super high production because everybody else that I like was looking at online was putting out super high production. But like people are kind of like over that now. And so it's just like, how can we make our shit look as organic as possible? It's literally just picking up your phone and just talking direct into it.
Yeah. And there's multiple different ways to kind of run ads. I think when you become like a really, really good communicator, you can rip the whole script, right, from beginning to end and speak with so much conviction and captivate someone's attention. It's very similar to like, what do they call those videos again right now, where you just get into the car and then you
yapping videos.
It's kind of like yapping videos, right? Like if you have like a minute and a half script and you have it on a teleprompter and you're like, I'm going to fucking yap for a minute and a half. If you already created a ton of content, I think it's super, super valuable. But what I've seen as well is when people are getting started with their ads is they start off kind of hot and then all of a sudden they sound so unexcited with their ads. So if you have a teleprompter app, right? Go for like 5 to 10 seconds, pause, shake it out, change positions, change scenery, go for another 5 to 10 seconds and then talk it out. If you haven't had a ton of experience just yapping for a minute, minute and a half, being able to change your pitch, your tonality, facial expressions, hand gestures, don't try to do a minute and a half straight. Just go for 5 to 10 second blocks at a time, switch. And that naturally makes the ad more dynamic. But if you're just like, if you don't look like you want to be there, right, on the ad, it's going to be very hard for the person to want to commit to working with you.
Yeah. Dude, I would say just like the repetitions of filming ads over the last few years has allowed me to be better on camera just because you get so much more comfortable with it. There's a challenge I've been seeing on online. What's his name? Michael Smoke, higher up wellness, but he has this challenge where it's just like, hey, for 100 days in a row, pull out your phone and literally just like talk into it, whatever is top of mind. No edits, no nothing. And I think it's such a good practice for all you guys out there who are maybe a little more introverted, who hate talking on camera. That used to be me as well too. But you just kind of build and develop a skill. Same thing when it comes to workshops, right? Like I remember when I first did my few workshops, I sucked at it because I had no idea what I was doing with public speaking. But the more times you do it, you just develop this skill that becomes a very, very valuable life skill, I think, when it comes to, just like camera presence and all that as well too. I think that leads me to like the next point I was going to make is like, when your first couple ads are going to suck, and just like expect that. A lot of times people expect, hey, like the first 1 or 2 ads that they put up, those are going to be the winners, and they make their judgment on whether or not ads are going to work based off of those 1 or 2 ads they're going to make. A lot of times, like the volume of ad creatives that you put up is going to dictate, how soon you find your winning ad angle or ad variation. And so you can kind of expect like, hey, for every like 5 to 6 ads you put up, you find maybe one like winning creative. This is same thing directly right off of one of the feedback that we had from one of our monthly group call, one of our members in our monthly group call yesterday. She was like, "Hey, I found my winning ad creative." Yeah, and I'm like super stoked. I'm like, "Awesome, cool. How many ad creatives you put up?" She's like, "I had to put up like 6, and I found one that worked." And so if you can set that expectation in your head, like you need to have like 5 to 6 different variations, different angles, different types of creatives, whether it's, one maybe in your clinic, one at home, one static, one B-roll with text, one outside, somewhere around in your city. And you put all those variations up, now you can really start to see, all right, like what's going to work. But otherwise, if you just put up one variation of like you kind of talking very like, boringly into the camera, and you put that up and you put all of your judgment on ads into that one creative, like you're going to be very, very disappointed. And so you can kind of treat it almost similar to organic, right? Like a lot of times, like organic content is a skill where you don't have to worry about how well it does. You just put it up and it just becomes a skill that you develop because you have so much variations of it going up. Same thing with ads. And I think a lot of times because there's an amount spent behind it, people become so fixated on. But a lot of times I just kind of think of the fact that when we're spending money on ads, we're buying data. Like we're buying data in terms of what does our local demographic think about it? Is this angle resonating with people?
Yeah, and that's
like Andy, how many ads did you have to put up in order to find like the winning one?
Oh man.
Because like, dude, you're up in New York City. New York City is notorious for like being so hard to scale ads because of how competitive it is.
Our initial batch was 12 ads, and I think 2 did well. And then our second batch was like another. It's almost like we're roughly about like every 12 we get 1 to 2 winning ads.
Yeah.
But the thing that I want you guys to like think about, right, I think that you should learn ads, one, because it's going to help generate revenue, but it's going to help you develop a skill. Like it's not like, oh, if you're good at meta ads, right? If you're good at creating ads, that transfers to email marketing. Even if Meta ends up not being like a ad platform eventually in the future, if you understand the general principles of stuff, you could take what you've learned from meta ads and then transfer it to Reddit ads, LinkedIn ads, and a bunch of other different ads. So like, how do you start to like look at like things from a tactical level? I think people are not scientific enough in their approach on looking at ad creatives. So it's like, all right, I just shot an ad yesterday I literally stood in the middle of the road. Don't worry, there's this decent space. And I stood in the middle of a very busy road in Queens where we're opening up our second location. And I ripped the ad. So what am I going to test? I'm going to see, is it the location itself? like if this ad ends up working, I'm going to film more ads at that specific location and I'm going to test that. I'm going to take that same angle and I'm going to film it in different locations and I'm going to test that. And who knows, it might be one or might be both, right? But if every single ad that's filmed in this boulevard crushes, then I know that that's something that I need to be mindful of. I need to shoot more content at that boulevard. If that angle starts to cook in all the different locations, then I know that angle is really, really popular. Instead of doing short form kind of video ads like 45 seconds to a minute and a half, I can start to bake that into statics, B rolls, and start to use that angle in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. Volume will always help out with decreasing your overall cost per lead. Um, for one of my clinics in St. Pete, Clearwater, that area is very, very competitive. Tampa is just a very, competitive market when it comes to advertising. Everybody's ripping ads down there, whether it's massage therapists, personal trainers, gyms, chiropractors, other physical therapists. Like so many people advertising they can help out with pain. And so for a very long time, like we were kind of stagnant down there with our overall ad spend. And probably about 2 to 3 months ago, we changed one thing. And the only thing that we changed was I went down there for a couple of days and we literally just went. I brought one of my PTs, went to probably 15 to 20 different locations around that area. And we filmed 15 to 20 different ad variations with 5 different like hooks at all those different locations. And that has been like a massive decrease in our overall cost per lead just because we have so many new variations around town. Whereas before that, we were only filming our ads like in clinic and we were only launching maybe about like 2 to 3 new ads per month. And so when we like filmed all those new ones, now we had so many new creatives we could test out. And all of a sudden, compared to everybody else, right? Everybody else was running probably with the same 2 or 3 ads for forever. And that was something that we used to do as well. Now we have so much new consistent variations. And so people might, they might hear your offer, they might resonate with it, but a lot of times like things get stagnant, right? Imagine if you see the same piece of like organic content filmed the same exact way over and over again on your newsfeed every single day. Like you're probably just going to scroll right past it. I know I do that all the time for all the ads I see. However, if we have like an offer that is framed different, or maybe it's exactly the same offer, but it's just packaged a little bit differently. Maybe it's somebody different in the ad. Maybe it's a different location. Now I'm a little bit more interested in kind of like willing to see and look at it a little bit more. So increase the volume of variations that you guys have. I think a good tip in terms of like how do you actually, what's the overall process for this, right? Because I think a lot of times people get stuck on, hey, I don't have time. A lot of times you guys just need to figure out how can we be very productive with the limited amount of time we have in order to pump out this amount of content when it comes to ads. So you have like one or two, like depending on how efficient you are, you have one block of time, maybe 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever it is, where in that month you just script out all your ads. Once you guys understand the overall format for scripting, it becomes very simple and repetitive. Just you have the same body once you have the winning offer, and then you swap out your couple different hooks. Once you have that, now you have like 5 to 10 different scripts, and then the next block of time that you have, let's say maybe it's another 2 hours of time. That is where you want to go to all these different locations, put it up on a teleprompter, and just directly talk into it. Okay, so and then you can batch out all that within another 2 hours, and then from there, I would probably recommend if you guys have an editor or you just find somebody off of like Fiverr, Upwork, or Freelancer, send out the editing. I think a lot of times like PT clinic owners, they initially want to do all the editing themselves. That probably takes the largest amount of like time suck. I know when I was like editing my own ads, like it would take forever. Whereas like you can literally pay somebody like anywhere from 15 to like $50 to edit an ad for you. And all of a sudden, so if you think about it, like every single month, you're doing that. You can, take you anywhere from 4 to maybe let's say 8 hours altogether to pump out like 15 to 20 ad variations. All of a sudden, like you're good. But a lot of times I think people just get so hung up on like, I don't have time, but you need to be able to find the time, and you need to understand how do you actually be efficient with the time. And then the more you do it, the faster and better you get at it because you understand the process that much more.
Yeah, one of the things that in New York City, like we're trying to do everything we can to capture someone's attention. So like the process that I utilized yesterday was like, all right, I'm gonna create 3 different bodies and 3 different call to actions. So the body kind of really talks about our offer, what we're gonna be doing, and etc. And then the call to actions, like what they should do next. And then I had within each of those 3 bodies and 3 call to actions, I had anywhere from like 6 to 10 hooks that would transition seamlessly to the body. So then
Love
when
it.
I recorded, I was just like, all right, I wore this bandit shirt yesterday.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm doing multiple is because I'm trying to figure out what can I include to create just an affiliation, right? If I'm wearing Bandit and it's a very popular running brand that started
Mhm.
here in New York City, if I'm wearing it, I can capture someone's attention immediately. It's like beautiful. Then for us, it's like I don't want to keep wearing the same black shirt. I want to have different appearances in different places. So I took the bandit shirt. I recorded 8 to 10 hooks. Recorded my body in the gym, and then the call to action in the gym. And now I've got 8 to 10 pieces of content from that. And if you edit the B roll of that body, then you only have to do it once, and you get all those different variations. And I just switched outfits, did it again, and then it's a tedious kind of process, but way better to do it that way than to like record something front and back for a minute, record another thing front and back to a minute. Like hitting hooks is super easy. It's just more so just getting to these locations.
Yeah. Dude, did you shower? You still,
Huh?
did you shower? Or did you slap out your shirt? Wash your
Dude, this
shirt?
shirt, I don't sweat, bro. Recording on talking to a camera is easy money.
Hell yeah.
It's not that bad at all. And I did everything yesterday, like walking along the pier with the
Hmm.
skyline and shit behind us. But
Beautiful.
yeah, it's it is a bit of a process, but as you start to fine tune it, like yesterday, it's like I got back at like 9. I just put everything in Dropbox, categorized it, recorded the loom, told my editor how I wanted to edit, and I'm like, all right, cool. Now I'll wait for the next day or two, have it all back, and then start testing the ads.
Love it. Let's talk a little bit about like scaling ads. One mistake that I used to make was I would scale my ads by literally just putting more money behind like a creative. And I think like if you're if you're running ads nationwide, I think you can do that. But when you're at a local level, because you're limiting your audience to a certain reach, you have a certain number of people that will kind of see your ads. So your ads will fatigue a little bit faster. And so, um, what I used to do was I would just in that one ad, I would just keep increasing budget if I saw that it was increasing our overall ROAS. What we kind of saw, at least for like the location that I'm at in Jacksonville as well as Tampa, usually about 100, maybe $125 per ad is going to be kind of like the upper tier of which it can spend effectively and still generate the net positive ROAS. So when it comes to scaling ad spend, so that's what people refer to as scaling vertically. Right, so you have those 2 or 3 winning ads, and you just continue to increase more and more budget. Instead of scaling vertically, what we've done to increase our overall scaling format is to scale horizontally. So meaning once we have our winning ad set, we cap it around like $100 because I know that seems to kind of be the threshold at our local area, and it might be different for every area. If you're sitting in an area where nobody else is running ads, you can probably still continue to scale it up, and you'll be totally fine. And so that might be something that you have to kind of test a little bit to see like where your threshold and where your tipping point is. But what we do now is like once we scale up to 100 $125 for that one ad, we keep it there, and then from there we spin off more variations, and that's where this like creative volume comes in. So it's like, okay, once we have those 2 or 3 winning ad creatives, let's see what the common theme was, and it's all hypothesis, right? Like what Andy was saying. Is it what I was saying in the ad? Was it maybe the location that I was in? Was it the person that was in the ad, right? Was it the PT that was in there? Like what was it? And I want to replicate that like 3 to 4 other variations. And then now all of a sudden, instead of like 3 ads that are spending $100, I have those 3 ads spending $100, and then I'm also adding on additional ads that are each at maybe like $30, $50, and I continue to like test and see what the if those are generating effective leads, effective evals. And from there, I will slowly scale those up to 100, and then I just keep adding on more and more. So don't be afraid to increase your overall ad spend. One of our calls yesterday, I was so on our monthly group calls, we basically pull up everyone's KPI dashboard and we do a deep dive in terms of their overall KPIs to figure out like what is on or off, and then if something is off, then we need to audit and fix that. There are probably 3 people that we pulled up yesterday. All their KPIs were phenomenal. Very good cost per lead, very low cost per eval, very low cost per acquisition, like a 5 to 10x ROAS. I'm like, awesome. If your KPIs are on track, increase your ad spend budget. right? Increase it even more. I think a lot of times people get scared to increase their ad spend, but if you kind of fix your overall frame, like your philosophy and how you view like ad spend as not necessarily as an expense, but as something that can consistently generate you more revenue, then don't be afraid to spend more. I know for myself, I had a big like block in my head when it came to scaling past spending more than 10K per month in ads. And I was stuck there for about like year and a half or so. And we just didn't spend anything more than 10K. But as once you kind of start spending more and you start to see the return, it just it's a massive unlock. And so don't be afraid to spend more, guys.
Yeah. If you're aggressively scaling, like every 48 to 72 hours, like you can keep going 10, 15% until you kind of hit those caps. It's like, how do you know what your cap is? You just monitor, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
if you're spending, if you're like, hey, I want to be able to hold like 2.5 to 3x return on ad spend, and you slowly get to the point where you're increasing your ad spend and it caps somewhere there, it's like, all right, perfect. Then you just leave it there and let it chill and see what happens. I think the biggest mistake that I see people make on that side of things is like never actually increasing,
Increasing
right?
ad
Like,
spend, yeah.
yeah, like irrespective of you want to create, multiple ads, it's just like if you are making money, increase your ad spend, and as you start to increase your ad spend, add more of that diversity. The other mistake that we see is like too many ads in one ad set, so this can definitely be a problem. Like with Andromeda update, if you're unfamiliar with it, definitely check out a YouTube video. Too much to explain right now. Maybe talk about it a little bit more. But if you're constantly pumping more ads into one ad set, sometimes your winner goes away. They start spending more money on the new ad that you just uploaded, and there's just too much fluctuation. So we try to keep it fairly simple. If we are doing multiple ads in one ad set, it's like 3 to 5.
Yeah.
But yeah, that I've seen, people try to add way too many in one, and Andromeda biases one ad instead of distributing that spend to all the different ads.
Yeah, when it comes to setting up your, I guess, like campaign structure, this is like super nitty gritty, but we definitely prefer more of like an ABO, so ad set budget campaign setup versus like a CBO. CBO is basically where you have a bunch of ads in kind of this one campaign, and then you let Facebook kind of dictate which ads it wants to show. And I've seen people put like as many as 10, sometimes even 100 ads in a single campaign. And kind of what Andy was saying, like Meta will basically skew it to just like one or two. And you put all this work into like filming all these other ads, and these ads, like these poor ads, don't actually get a true test to actually see whether or not they're going to be effective or not. So yeah, I think a lot of it just comes down to how much control you like to have. I'm a big control freak myself personally, so I like going like one ad for one ad set, and then kind of adjust the budget from there. And then if it's not working out well, I'll kill that ad set and then kind of relaunch from there.
Yeah, and when you're like navigating like learning meta ads, like obviously the easiest shortcut is joining GTC, but just remember,
Mm-hmm.
right, like certain strategies work for different industries. The things that we're talking about work for physical therapy based services, like an
Yeah.
in-person physical therapy practice. If you were to do like an e-commerce, you're selling like retail consumer packaged goods, it's a completely different strategy than what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
So when you're going like one-on-one in-person physical therapy, this is a structure that works way better.
Yeah. I would say in-person physical therapy, and you have to have a high enough ticket. A lot of times why like insurance physical therapy clinics can't be initially effective with ads is because when you're spending money on ads, you need to be able to collect that amount that you spend in ads and then some in the first like 30 days. A lot of times with insurances or even people who have very small packages or who are people who are only doing single visit per visit, you're going to be the freaking negative. So for example, like you're spending, let's say $1,000 in ads and you get, I don't know, like let's say, like five people that end up closing, if they're all paying you like single visit by visit at maybe $150 or $300 or $200, like it's going to take you a very long time to actually recollect that ad spend, and then actually turn a net profit on it. And I think like that's one of the, before we even jump into ads, for a lot of people, we have to restructure their offer so that way ads can be profitable immediately day one. Otherwise, if your ticket is way too low, like don't spend money on ads. You're going to lose money on ads.
Also gives you a longer runway to essentially break even as you're learning, right? Because if your ticket is 3,000, you have up to $3,000 worth of ad spend
Yeah,
to break even and eventually optimize that so you're making 3 to 4x that.
absolutely. What's another common mistake that you see people make, man?
Um, I just literally had one in my mind. I was just thinking about. I think trying to like it
Here,
gets
I got you. So, I think people sometimes will make decisions too soon.
yeah.
um and it's very very normal, right? Like you're spending money, you want to make sure, hey, like it's generating, a positive return. What I actually will do now, because I understand the sales cycle is a little bit longer sometimes, meaning like we'll have people who opt in but they may not come in for an eval until maybe like a week later or 2 weeks later. So I like to make a lot of my judgment on ads within usually like a 7 day. I'll look at it every 7 days, and then I'll look at you know uh a little bit more of a holistic view every like 30 days to kind of dictate whether or not do we need to change something overall. But I think a lot of times people will kind of, after one day, they spend $50 or $100 and they're like, holy shit, like I'm not really getting that many leads in, like what's going on? They immediately shut it off. And a lot of times you just need to let, like Meta actually like, spend a little bit more to actually give you data, right? It kind of goes back to what we were talking about before. We're really spending money to acquire data. And so don't freak out. I think the main KPI that you guys need to look at for your overall North Star is going to be your overall return on ad spend. Or even look at like your front end cash collected to your ad spend. A lot of times people will make judgments off their ads based off of the exact cost per lead. But cost per lead doesn't really do anything. It's kind of like a leading indicator, but it doesn't really have anything to do with like whether or not these leads are effective, right? So you can have a little bit higher cost or a little bit more expensive cost per lead. But if all those leads come in, they all close, awesome. At the same time, we can also have a lot of very low cost per lead, very cheap cost per lead, get a ton of leads in, but if none of them are closing, it's not effective. And so make your judgments off of, return on ad spend, and then cost per acquisition is what we look at next, and then cost per eval, and then cost per lead, the very, very last.
The last thing for me is honestly is just not being distracted. You can scale an offer very, very high. It's very common for like people to be like, oh wow, I'm seeing a lot of success with like shoulder pain evaluations. I want to get into pelvic floor. It's like, why don't we just keep scaling the shoulder pain? Like you literally are putting, $5 into this vending machine. I mean, you put $1 into this vending machine, you're getting $5 back. And all you're saying is like, let's find another vending machine. It's like, don't just scale an offer. So
doubling down on what's working.
yeah, too many people will find a winner and go, okay, but I don't want to keep treating shoulders. I'm like, okay, but I like making money. Like I like stability. So scale that offer and keep milking it and then start to go into different offers. But it's so often where someone's like spending like maybe like 2,000 or 3,000, like, okay, I want to find another offer. It's like, no, just keep scaling this right now. You're crushing this offer.
And especially too, like if you have an offer that's been running that's very successful, right? And so you want to keep spending behind more money behind it. People will view you as like the expert in that one thing. I don't remember if I mentioned this on the last podcast or not, but we've had multiple EVOs that come in and they haven't even gone to other PT places, but because they've seen our ads for shoulders and runners like constantly for like a year plus now, they're like, I know you guys are the experts. I see your shit talk about running everywhere. Like I want to come in and see you guys because you guys are the expert. And so if you have something that's working, keep it running. And then like once you're good, once your schedule's full, or and you covered all your bases, then you can get cute with it, right? Experiment with like a different offer, whether it's like high rocks or I don't know, like if you like treat TMJ or I don't know, some hand shit, whatever it is that you like then go test that out. But don't like just switch off something that's working. Also brings me to next thing is a lot of times when people schedules are full, or maybe they go out of town, they want to turn off the campaign. What I've seen a lot of times is like Meta is super finicky with any kind of like changes to the overall campaign. I don't know what the hell it is, but like sometimes people will like turn it off and then all of a sudden they try and come back and turn it back on again, and like it just, that whatever reason, I don't know what it is, but the algorithm just doesn't like it, and all of a sudden like your winning creative isn't a winner anymore. So if possible, just decrease your overall budget, but try and leave it on as long as possible.
Facts. Squad, that's fucking two parts of mistakes that most people make. And I think that covers about 90% of what people do. So in the subsequent ones, we'll start to talk about what you should actually do, how to make things better, um, and just like strategies. We talked about some strategies because it's so natural to be like, this is a mistake and this is what you should do.
Mhm.
But team, we are about to close up this podcast, and I just wanted to you guys know that we are doing GGC live in New York City, August 15th to 16th. If you are interested, check out the show notes below. We're going to be breaking down a ton of things. This is particularly going to be focused a lot on scaling ads. And if you're struggling with leads, scaling your team, and just managing things and understanding like where you need to really be placing your emphasis, check it out. There's only 3 more spots left. We had 5 spots open. 2 really great candidates already pulled up. So if you're interested, fill out the form and just let us know what you're looking for. And if we think we can help you, we'll give you an invite. But we don't send out that invite unless we know that we can 10x the value of your time and your investment for that event. And honestly, there's no better deal.
And you gotta be cool too. If you're like a dickhead, like, and you try to apply, we don't want to hang out with you. So make sure you're cool.
Yeah. It's going to be a fucking fun event. But squad, appreciate y'all. Peace.